Hello, everybody. We are back for part 4 of what did we call it again? Michael and Alan talk about video games working title. This is part 4. This is the conclusion of our top 10 unordered favorite video games. Parts 1 and 3 are on your. Oh, sorry, frick. It's just RPGs, which is making it harder for me. But parts 1 and 3 are on Alan's channel. You should be subscribed to Alan. Alan is amazing. Go subscribe to him. Link down below. And then parts 2 and 4 will be here. So we're going to talk about the last 3 games on each of our lists. We've been historically a little long-winded about some of the stuff, but I think it was worth it for the conversations that happened.
We got 3 done the first time.
Journey before Destination. So
I got that reference.
Did you? Nice. You got to read the book though. That it's not just enough. You got to get it. You got to feel it.
Oh.
What's your number 7? Number 7? No, 8.
Oh, we're already starting with we're 1 minute in, Michael, and we're starting with the video games.
We gotta go. We got 6 games to talk about.
Oh, that's true.
This is our speed run round. You're gonna have to.
I got plenty to say. You're gonna have to wait.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about the Suikoden games, specifically Suikoden 2. So Suikoden is a game by Konami before Konami
That's how you say that?
Suikoden? Yeah.
You say it Suikoden?
You'll have people say Suikoden, but
that's the only way I've ever heard that.
It's not in Japanese, it's not a diphthong. Like UI isn't a W. It's Suikoden or Suikoden.
You learn something new every day, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's I took Japanese, so
okay. Go ahead, school me.
I'm the weeb master. Suikoden is my. It's such a good game. Before Konami decided they hate video games and they only want to make pachinko games, like they ran off Kojima, and all of their good properties is just. I mean, it's trash. Like, what's the last good Konami game you played?
I'm glad you're also a Konami hater.
I don't know what they're doing. Like everything's a pachinko machine. Like They have Suikoden. They've extended the series past 5 as a pachinko machine, and I don't care.
Oh,
it's ridiculous. So Suikoden, the Suikoden games is based loosely on Journey to the West, which is a Chinese, like really famous Chinese book about the 108 Stars of Destiny. And so the claim to fame of the Suikoden games is that you get a party of like between 4 and 6 people, but then you collect 108 party members. They are not all battle party members. Some of them, it's like you have like a castle building sim, or not sim, but like some of them are merchants at your castle. They run like games where you can like make some money at the castle. They're the weapon merchants, the innkeepers. In the first one, there's a guy named Window who puts stained glass windows in your castle. But there are 108 characters to collect. And if you do not collect all of them, you get the bad ending. You have to collect all 108.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. It's but they are incredibly fun because there are like 60 or so, at least half of them are party members like that you can use in battle. And so the different part of the fun is just the different combination of characters that you choose to use. And the fact that while they're doing this, they still manage to tell a compelling narrative. The narrative thread that follows all the Suikodens are these, I think there are 14 true runes. Magic in this, you use runes. It's runes attached to, you equip and unequip runes and it gives you access to magic, but the true runes are runes that you can't equip. They attach to you till you're dead. And each Suikoden follows a different like true rune. And, but yeah, so that's kind of the common link. And 2 especially is really good. It's some of the best political intrigue in any RPG. You are a guy and his best friend. You like kind of grow up as nobles. And then there's a schism. Like you both learn at the same time that the noble family, I guess, is bad. And you leave to go join the rebels. But your friend stays and becomes like the leading general. And there's not really a reconciliation. You end up having to fight him, and it's a really good story.
Yeah.
And the main villain, the main villain's name is Luca Blight, he's the head of the empire. He is so psychotic. And this is a PS1 game. Like but they wrote him so psychotic. There's no voice acting. It's all dialogue. But he is a psychotic, insane person. And he is terrifying and just really cool, like all at the same time. Everyone loves Luca Blight, one of the best video game antagonists like ever. And so that game in particular is a lot of people's favorites. A lot of people like 3, the first one for the PS2. Everyone hates 4 except me. The 4 takes place on like the sea. There's a lot. You have a ship, which it's a lot of islands, and the encounter rate, it's random battles. The encounter rate is insane. Like, it's bad.
Is it adjustable in any way?
No.
Oh, yeah.
It's
good old classic game.
Oh yeah, but like it's just like there's no way there's this many battles. That's ridiculous. And the main character, you hit the sprint button. He's in these little short shorts. He's in like these Daisy Dukes. Yeah. And when you're running around the harbor, it looks ridiculous when you're sprinting in these little short shorts. And then 5 was really good again. And then there's no 6, and there's no news of a 6. Everyone's ticked off that there isn't news of a 6. As I said, the only the last thing we've heard of it is it was a pachinko machine. And Suikoden 5 came out in, I'm trying to find when it came out, 2006 for the PlayStation 2. 15 years.
You got that Patrick Rothfuss thing going on.
And it's such a good series, and it's really popular.
Do you think we could start a GoFundMe to get you that pachinko machine?
No, but I'm so glad you said that. There's a Kickstarter that just closed that is run by some people on the original dev team of Suikoden to make a new Suikoden game that isn't called Suikoden.
Yeah, going full rogue.
Yeah, but it's the same game. My brother, he's like, I don't know why I didn't message you, Alan, and tell you to, because my brother kickstarted it. And
you're not a supporter.
I know. So now he's going to get all the stuff early and everything. And he's like, I'm sorry. I should have told you it was open because it's closed now.
He probably won't share it with you either.
I hope he will, because that is when that comes out. It's on PC, so it's on your gaming thing of choice, dude. If you never played a Suikoden, like, you should play it. They're really, really, really good. And some characters.
Did you just like backhanded call me a PC Master Racer?
Yeah.
I just have a lot of PC games. I'm not a freaking dirtbag. Don't lump me in with those people.
Well, let me ask you this: did you build your own computer?
Absolutely.
Then yes, you are. You're one of those. If you build your own computer, if you did not buy your computer, you are one of them.
I bought all the parts,
and then you put them together.
Yeah,
that is what people like you do.
Savage.
But there are some characters that are in like all the games, and
how do they handle story relevant characters if you got 100 some party members?
So most of the characters have like a very, very brief like description of kind of their situation and backstory, and you learn that when you recruit them.
Sure.
But to the larger plot, they have no real significance.
Any permadeath on characters?
Yes, but it's all story related.
It's story related, not battle. Okay.
So you can, in the first one especially, there's a main character who you can die if you don't do the right thing, and then you're locked out of the best ending if you let him die, because you're missing. You got 107 stars at that point. But yeah, so most of the characters don't have plot relevance other than the real quick thing after you recruit them. But a lot of the main ones do. But some of the main ones, I'm like, main characters tend sometimes to be just kind of generic and lame. I'm like, I'm not using you. I'll use the hero, but then I'm going to use all these other people. And it's bizarre, from like mages to like in 2, there's 4 flying squirrels.
Yeah.
Differentiated only by the color of their cape. There's a blue cape, a red cape, a yellow cape, and a red cape. And their names are Muku Muku, Moku Moku, Maku Maku, and Miku Miku. My brother has beaten the game using a team, but nothing but the hero and the flying squirrels, because that's who he is as a person.
Nice.
But it's just really, really fun. And anybody here who's listening who's played the Suikodens definitely knows what I'm talking about. They'll go down. They'll in the comments tell me how much
you have.
Sucks.
So this is going to be on my channel. I don't trust the people on my channel to be as weeb as this.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I mean,
We'll see. We'll see.
I'll promote it on mine. Hopefully, get some weebs.
They'll have to expose themselves publicly as being weebs, which sometimes is a little embarrassing.
I mean, that's true. Anyone who says they've played Suikoden 3 maybe, but anyone that said they've played 1 or 2 on the PS1, because the only reason you would ever pick up a game called Suikoden back in the PS1 era is if you're a weeb. Like, you gotta to have picked that
I have
up.
a psychological question for you.
Okay.
Have you ever played very many like point and click adventure games? I know they were on PC usually.
Yeah, back in the day, I played almost all the LucasArts ones. I didn't play.
So were you the type of people that had to get all of the points all the time?
Yeah, like you always had to. Yes, you have to do everything in a game. Did you ever play Grim Fandango?
I haven't beat it, of course. I have played it. It's my job to touch every game. Whether I beat them or not is different.
Michael, it's not even long. Point and click adventure games aren't even long.
They are if you're bad at them.
Michael,
you gotta click on every pixel.
Michael, Grim Fandango is so good. How have you not beaten it?
That's a personal question. It hurts. I don't feel like I have to answer it now.
My scythe. I like to keep next to where my heart used to be.
We are 11:33. I'm gonna say my first game.
We're just done. We're just no fanfare. We're just closing the door on Suikoden.
What fanfare were we supposed to give it? Like, was I supposed to make fun of like your favorite character from it? But I don't know.
Segue, Michael. We're a news broadcast.
Did it not sound like I was segueing when I asked you a psychological question about point and click adventure games?
I'm just kidding. You're just talking so fast. You're rushing me, Michael.
I'm gonna start yelling. Really, like that's where it got crazy last episode is when I started yelling. I actually said I wasn't going to talk about this game, but then I was looking at my list of RPGs and I realized that I have to be honest about myself as a person. So I'm going to say that. No, it's not. No. Though I did beat Luigi's Mansion 3 this weekend, and
Luigi's Hotel?
Yeah, it is a hotel. The number of times I had to hear, "Oh yeah," like was a million times. My kids started doing it. Like my little baby daughter is almost like, "Oh yeah." Like, no.
Did that change your mind about Luigi at all?
It changed my mind about Luigi's Mansion games. Those games are fine. They're completely adequate. I didn't know if they were going to be good or not.
Completely adequate. Did you finish?
Do you think
Control?
They're good?
I've never played.
I didn't finish the DLC, but I did finish Control. And
the ashtray maze was awesome. Listen, with the headphones on. I loved
a lot of things about Control. Someday I will talk about Control. I should talk about Control. Never mind. We're
gonna have a Remedy video, guys. We're talking about Remedy games.
Put a pin in my Control discussion.
Okay, go ahead. What's your first game?
It's Pokemon, dude. I was the right age at the right time. I wasn't playing Red and Blue when they came out. Like I had a friend that had Red, and I got to see it. I got to see some of the cartoon.
Yeah,
but it was a little bit of like my parents didn't, so there were some parents that were scared of the Pokemon names, how
I didn't understand like the Harry Potter thing. It's like, I mean, at least I can understand like, oh, they're doing magic. I mean, okay,
it's because
Pokemon.
It's because in Japanese it literally translated pocket demons, man. You can't do that.
Pocket monsters, Pokemon.
It was pocket demons in Japan.
I guess.
Dude, I'm not defending it. But when
looking at Pikachu, how can anybody be like, "Oh, yeah, that's a demon"?
Pikachu is, I think, potentially one of the cutest video game characters of all time, and I couldn't argue against it. So when I don't remember, some age when they remade Red and Blue they remade Red and Blue as Fire Red and Leaf Green. I bought my first Pokemon game, and being able to like retroactively live the dream of every 10-year-old to be like, I am now 10, which means I am now a responsible adult, which means I can now take this pet and venture into the wild and become the greatest of all time at something. Like, it's just a very fantasy focused, like fantasy wish fulfillment focused thing, and getting to travel the lands with all these magical creatures. I mean, obviously I don't know if there's a lot of unique things I could say about Pokemon because it's one of the most popular franchises of all time. Like when Pokemon Go exploded and blew up the world, Pokemon Go hit the world in a way that I thought we would never ever see again because media has become so segregated by like niche interests, which is cool because there's a lot of cool things that come with that. But also the collective interest of people in the Pokemon series still astounds me to this day. Like the fact that Pokemon Snap 2 just came out and people played it.
Yeah.
Is bizarre because I don't think the Pokemon Snap gameplay is all that interesting. But people like Pokemon and I loved Pokemon. It speaks to people.
An important question that I'm going to shame you if you choose the wrong answer for this. Which
Charizard.
So you're a fire starters. You're a
not
fire
always.
starter.
No, dude, I pick it by game. I've played all of the generations, and I pick it by game.
You should never. Okay, you can pick it by game, except you should never ever choose the grass starter.
Sceptile is amazing. Sceptile is amazing.
Nope.
In fact, if you
grass starters are trash.
If you sit there and look at all their stats on who can be the best, if you EV train them and IV train them, Sceptile is one of the best starters in the game.
Okay, let me explain.
He can kill a Kyogre, dude.
Let me explain the hot take that I have in Pokemon that everyone shames me for. Okay. I choose them based on what they look like, not based on their stats, and because of that, I don't ever evolve them ever. So the last game I played was I think Pokemon Black.
I was okay with you for half of it, not the other half.
Last game I played was Pokemon Black. Let me tell you what my team was. Psyduck, Snorlax, the Ice Cream Cone.
Yep.
Trubbish, which is the best of all the Pokemon, and I'll fight you. Trubbish.
I would say he's trash.
He is literal trash. But
people are gonna be mad because I made a pun.
That's all. That's fine. And they use the little cog gears.
Yeah.
And then who else they use? There's one more, but and Oshawott because I thought his evolutions are not cute anymore. Once they evolve, they're no longer cute. And so I do not have to be cute.
What if they're cool instead?
There are very rare ones that are like cool.
Charizard is cool. Charmander is cute.
I bet you play Charizard in Smash and just use side B. Like it's all you do, just side B as Charizard.
I don't like playing Pokemon Trainer that much. Okay. I play Pikachu usually. Actually, I said I played Link mostly in the last episode. I actually play Pikachu way more than I play Link.
Do you just press down? Do you just down B?
No, because they nerfed it like crazy. But I used to.
Oh, did
I used to be? Yeah, I used to be that way.
Why would you do that, Michael?
Because it's so flippin' rad, dude. You can summon lightning from the sky. Why would you not do that?
Because it's cheap.
If you could summon lightning from the sky right now, you would.
I mean, yes. I agree with you. But
he's a little mouse and he summons lightning from the sky.
Yeah, that's true. Pokemon. I played. What did I have? I had Blue when it came out.
Oh
and, yeah. The water Pokemon starters are always the best. The fire ones are okay. The grass
is good.
Grass is awful. All grass is awful.
You don't think they look cool even?
No. The only halfway cool looking one is I like the owl in the most recent one.
Yeah, owls are right.
You have Chikorita. Look at it.
Chikorita. Which one is that?
Isn't that grass? Look it up. Chikorita. That one starter.
That is a grass. Oh yeah, I don't like that one at all. It's so like. Okay, I don't know. I think that over time, a lot of the Pokemon designs got horrible. I'm not one of the people that says that you only have to do the first 150. I'm not some kind of old fart saying get off my lawn. But I will say that later on there were some bad designs. I think the newest game, Sword and Shield, I think there's some cool ones in that one. And the starter in there that I picked was the grass one. He is a grass ape who plays the drums.
Oh, I thought it was the owl.
He's a monkey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he grows into a monkey with drums.
Oh, no, sorry. Grookey.
Yes. Yeah.
Is your Pokedex at 100% completion?
I have never 100% completed anything that wasn't a Mario game.
Oh, I don't even know why I asked. I momentarily forgot I was talking to you.
If it's a Mario game, I will 100% that beast probably. And if it's not, I won't.
Probably.
Yeah.
Did you 100% Mario Sunshine?
We could probably have an individual podcast about Mario Sunshine and how it is simultaneously
bad and worse.
Amazing and one of the worst video games I've ever played at the same time.
I hate Sunshine.
There are wonderful things about Sunshine, and there are design decisions that had to go through some level of decision-making process, and they came out on the other side, and I question the sanity of people involved. Like there's so many things that are amazing and awful about Sunshine at the same time. I don't think that haters are completely fair, though. I think there's some good stuff about it. Like you just having a jetpack doesn't make it not fun. Being able to oh my.
Yes, it does.
Hey, Alan.
What?
We're segueing. What's your number 2 game?
I'm not done talking about Pokemon. Hold on.
Oh, what did you want to say about Pokemon? What's your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite Pokemon is my personal favorite Pokemon is probably Snorlax. I think
he's most like me in real life, probably.
Yeah, I like Snorlax a lot. I think. Do I have a Pokemon? I thought I had a Pokemon Stuffy. Maybe I don't. Anyway, I was never a huge Pokemon player. My friends all were. My brother is. So I played the original, and then I played Black and White. Those are the only 2 Pokemons that I played. I was a big fan of the show, and the cards when they first came out. Like I was in middle school, and I would go to the. No, I wasn't. I was in high school, and I would go.
You had to be in high school, dude.
Yeah, I would go to Books A Million, and where they would have Pokemon tournaments, and I'd school some little 7-year-olds, and win their cards. It was I wasn't great, but I was okay.
But you were a bully.
I mean, basically. And I was I really liked the show though, and I think Pokemon the first movie is a good movie, like let alone a Pokemon movie.
That's the Mewtwo movie, right?
What? That's the Mewtwo movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I own it.
Good for you. Like I approve of that decision. It's so it was very unexpected for what I expected a Pokemon movie to be. I did not know that Mewtwo was going to be so awesome.
Yeah.
And I did not know that I was going to weep during a freaking Pokemon movie.
Do you know who my favorite Pokemon is?
Who?
It's Mewtwo.
Mewtwo's awesome. That is
because he's so bad, and he's also created.
Yeah,
he's so rad. Dude. He's also so powerful.
Do you use him in Smash?
I try to use him in Smash because I like him so much, but he doesn't play the way that I like. So, but I started playing Pokemon with Fire Red, which means that all of my original Pokemon are transferable to every newer version except the newest one.
Nice.
So all of my Pokemon that I trained and got to level 100 my very first Pokemon I still have.
That's awesome.
I love it so much.
That's really cool.
So my original level 100 Mewtwo, as well as another level 100 Mewtwo that I also trained. They're my
shiny Mewtwo?
I don't have a shiny Mewtwo. I don't have a single shiny Pokemon. The only time I've ever seen one, I just killed it. I thought it looked dumb. I didn't know what shinies were. I was like, why? It was a freaking Ditto. I was like, why is this Ditto look so dumb? And I killed it.
It sucks.
Dittos are awesome. Dittos are okay. I don't know if this is gonna get us demonetized. Dittos are the best breeding Pokemon. They're so nice for eggs.
Why would that get us demonetized?
Because I'm talking about using a Pokemon as an eternal hatching point for making babies.
I don't think YouTube's algorithm can pick that up. Ditto sucks.
You don't know. Ditto doesn't suck, dude. They added online trading to the Pokemon games at some point. That was probably in Black, and so you would take your starter, breed about 1,000 of them, and then just trade them out for other starters online because it was so easy to get them, and you wanted to get the other starters without finding a rando in real life.
Did you have Pokemon Stadium for your 64?
No. I wish I did, dude.
That
sounded like the best days when you could take your Pokemon from a game and upload them to your N64. Did you see my shirt? It's a Nintendo 64 shirt.
Nice. I need to reacquire video game T-shirts. I don't have any anymore. I used to have a bunch.
I'm sorry I interrupted you. Did you have more things you wanted to say about Pokemon the movie? You cried.
It's really good. Like I saw it in the theaters. It's excellent. Such a good movie. But no, I am. Okay. I think I'm done with Pokemon. But I liked the anime a lot.
I was very sad when I watched the Butterfree episode. Yeah, it made my little boy heart cry.
I did have the CD, the Pokemon CD, which had all the Pokemon related music. It had, do you know what I'm talking about?
Can you do the poker app for me right now?
That made me think of it when it's the line that ends something Butterfree. Catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all.
That is potentially the worst rap song ever written, and I know some bad rap songs.
What do you mean the worst rap song ever written?
The comments will agree with it. It is the worst rap song ever written, dude.
What?
Dude, it's awful.
Nidoran, Mankey, Venusaur, Rattata, Fearow, Pidgey, Seaking, Jolteon, Dragonite, Ghastly, Ponyta, Vaporeon, Poliwrath, Butterfree. Catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all.
I believe I'm stealing a joke from that one Polygon video series when I say that if you could substitute the lyrics for your rap for something that sounds like an anti-drug crusade song, you've made an awful song. Like if it sounds like it could belong on Dare, your song is bad.
It's so good though. It had the
Alan, please tell me. Alan, just what? No. Please tell me your next game. I don't want to hear about.
Remember the Team Rocket song, the Double Trouble song?
Yeah, that was all right.
And Misty's ballad to Ash or whatever.
I don't know that one.
It's like a love song that she's singing while Ash is asleep. It's on the same CD.
Was there like a misconnection in that show that I didn't ever see? I didn't see the whole thing.
Yeah. She's in Ash.
Frick, maybe I should go watch it.
Did you have that CD? Did you know these songs?
No.
They weren't in the show.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I've just seen them online.
No, these are songs inspired by the show.
Oh.
Michael, you should expect a package from me. I'm going to send you this Pokemon CD. And I'm going to need you to review it on your channel. That's the deal.
Yeah, I could probably do that.
All right. Okay, good. Oh, it's my turn now. I'll go on to the next game rather than talking about the CD. You understand? I had this. It was so good. All right.
I'm just trying to keep us on track, dude. I don't want to kill your vibes, but I'm trying to be a responsible adult for once in my life.
Yeah, you're harsh. You're harsh in my. I'm just vibing, man, as the kids say. Michael.
I say vibe so much on my channel. People make fun of me.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one. My next two are probably pretty obscure, especially this next one, like calling all like hardcore RPG weeb fans. So it is a series for PlayStation 2 called Shadow Hearts, and it is by who is it by? It's not Monolith Soft, but it's another defunct video game company. This one's
Midway?
by Nautilus. Midway was the publisher.
Okay.
But it was developed by Nautilus or Saknoth or whatever, and they've dissolved since then. And what it is, it's a historical, it's kind of like a historical fantasy RPG coupled with like the first one especially is really Lovecraftian. It takes place during World War One, the beginning of World War One, and you are a guy named Yuri who is trying to save this girl Alice from this alchemist who is named Roger Bacon, who was a real alchemist.
Roger Bacon, okay.
Yeah, like he's a real alchemist, but it's very like Lovecraftian. It's like there's a ton of horror stuff in the first one, and so a couple things that run thread. There were 3 of these games. The combat system is the most fun combat I've ever had in an RPG. It is called the Judgment Ring. And so what happens when you attack or cast a spell, this huge like ring appears that has like segments of it cut out yellow. And then the edge of each yellow segment is red. That's the crit space, but you got it. And so it spins at varying speeds. The weapon you have equipped determines how many hit zones are on the ring and how fast the ring spins. And
so it's kind of rhythm gamey.
Yeah, it's very rhythm gamey with the attack. You have to hit the X.
I've seen someone play this game.
It is incredibly fun, and the historical element, and it's really zany also. First of all, the girl you're trying to save, Alice, she bites it in the game. And she's like, And it's just, you do not, she's the heroine. Like she's one of your party members. You're trying to save her the whole game and she eats it. You find out that Roger Bacon is not actually the alchemist you're hunting. You're hunting a different real alchemist named Albert Simon. He's just going by the name Roger Bacon, who ends up being an ally of yours. And in all 3 games, they're searching for, Albert Simon is trying to revive his wife, looking for something called the Emigre manuscript, which is this real mystical manuscript that's supposed to resurrect people from the dead.
I have heard someone talk about this game before. It's weird.
It is excellent. But the second one, Shadow Hearts 2, takes everything good about the first one and dials it up to 11. The gameplay it flows better. It is equal turns horrific, dramatic, and hilarious. I laughed so hard playing this game. First of all, in the second game, it's still World War I. You're kind of fighting against, you're in the kind of the Asian, you fight against like like there's a Chinese general or whatever. But one of the main villains in 2 is Rasputin, Grigory Rasputin. Like, the real Rasputin. One of your party members is Princess Anastasia. After he massacres the Romanovs, Anastasia joins your party. And there's also a buff like wrestling vampire. There's one of this family of vampires, the Valentine family. There's one of his family is in your party in all 3 games. And in this one, it's Joachim, who's a professional wrestler. And literally in the game, his weapons, you'll be walking around. You don't buy weapons for Joachim. You're walking around and you'll see this big thing. Like you're in Russia and you see a huge swordfish stuck in the snow and it's frozen. And he's like, this looks like a weapon I could use. And he grabs it. And so he hits people with a swordfish. When you're in the desert, he grabs a big old cactus. Like he at one point uses like one of those British phone boxes as his weapon. Like he just sees crap and he's like, I could wield this. At one part, one of the villains is this little like baby, like kind of like Buddhist monk thing. And he's on this flying carpet and he's like, I'm going to kill all of you. And he's clearly like threatening you. But the party is just like, dude, where did he get that carpet? Oh my gosh, it flies? Are you kidding? Dude, hey, where'd you get the carpet? And he's like, I'm trying to threaten you. And they're like, man, that carpet is so awesome. And I'm dying laughing because it's so tonally dissonant.
Yeah.
With the giving his villain monologue, and the heroes are just like fascinated by how awesome the flying carpet is. It reminds me a lot of like the humor in One Piece. And it's just the historical stuff. It's so good. And the villain, while talking about it, the main villain, like it's Rasputin for most of the game, but the real villain at the end is so tragic. And he's also looking for the Emigre manuscript. And it's one of those things like I've suffered so much loss that I need to I have to try to remake the world to where it was before I suffered this great tragedy. And because he's like on your side for a large portion of the game. And it's just so good. Like the story was so excellent and the humor was perfect and just the Lovecraftian bits. And again, the combat is so fun. You can never just sit there. You always have like the best weapons. The strongest weapons were always the ones that had really, really thin hitboxes on the ring. So you had to balance, like, do I use this one that's going to be the hardest to try to to try to
get damage with, yeah.
Or do I use the next one down that's much easier, that's much more consistent? It was just really, really fun. And then they made the third game, which took place in like the 1920s America. And it just lost like everything that made the first two special. Like it still had the vampire, remember the Valentines, and it still was kind of zany, but the characters were just kind of like something that I read or played. Mass Effect Andromeda with boring Garrus and boring Rex and boring Liara. And
they're in that game?
No, but
the fake, the lame versions of them. Okay.
Correct. The great value brand versions of, our favorite, and that's what it felt like. Yeah. And like you got to meet Al Capone and free him from Alcatraz, and it was just like, I get what you're doing. The main character wasn't Yuri, which you had followed, the half demon guy, because his thing, and every party member had their own. It's like I talked about with Final Fantasy VI. They had their own special ability. Like Yuri could turn into different kind of demons that, like a fire demon and a lightning demon, that kind of stuff. And so it was, and freaking Joachim would do wrestling moves like the suplex or like a Frankensteiner, like he'd lift them up over their heads. And it was just so ridiculous, but so much fun. And then the third one just failed to capture that magic. And it was perfectly adequate, just like Andromeda, but it did not live up to what the first two games were. And I have been waiting for them to either remaster the bloody game or make another sequel, because it was so good. I would absolutely play them again if they were ever remastered.
This game has some rad Gothic art. That's what I've been looking at while you're talking.
Yes,
some of the...
dude, it does. Like the whole like that's the whole like shtick. Yeah. Especially the first game. The first game is incredibly Gothic. You have many more locales in the second game, but it's just so much fun.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
What's the deal with this character named Blanco that looks just to be a wolf person?
Are you looking at the screenshot where Blanca is standing against the wall?
I looked at a couple of different ones of Blanco because Blanco looks like my favorite person. It also looks like my old dog.
Okay, so Blanca is a wolf, but there is one screenshot where he's trying.
There's one, yeah. It's like a stealth mode, and it's like it's Metal Gear Soliding.
It's literally making fun of Metal Gear Solid. Like,
okay.
It's riffing on Metal Gear where he's trying to free them. Normally he's just a wolf. Like he's your original party member. It's you and Blanca to start with in Shadow Hearts 2 while you're looking for because the thing is Yuri has to struggle with the Emigrant manuscript also because he wants to use it. Like he's tempted by its power to resurrect Alice from the first game because he's in love with her. And so he has to it's just so good. It's just so freaking good. But yeah, Blanca's a character. Yeah, all the characters are really good,
okay.
Especially the second.
Question 2.
Yeah.
I'm looking at another screenshot, and it appears to be a very horrifying, disturbing baby in a white glob with a lot of limbs sticking out of it.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now.
What the frick is that? There's a lot of screenshots of this thing.
That's one of the bosses from the first game. The first game is much more kind of like that Gothic horror Lovecraft stuff.
There's some freaking I'm looking at some more monsters from the bestiary. It looks like there's some freaking gnarly cool stuff in this one.
Yeah, the first one is much more horror based than the second one, but the second one I think has a better narrative overall. It's not quite as slow as the first one. The first one has a kind of a really slow pacing, but
King Tamakos is his name.
In what? Sorry,
I think that's the name of the monster that I found.
Tamakos.
I think so. King Tamakos. Tamakos.
I'm looking at. Oh yeah. There you go. Oh my gosh, nasty.
There's also one called.
Oh, that's in Covenant. That's the That's in the second game. Yeah.
There's also one called Asmodeus, which looks freaking metal as frick.
Okay, so Tamakos, that's the baby that was riding a flying carpet prior to them finding.
Oh, it looks way worse on this blob of flesh, though.
Oh yeah, that's the true form.
Okay. Yeah, and then Asmodeus looks like a freaking metal is all get out.
Which one? Oh, Asmodeus?
Yeah. I got a link for this too.
Oh yeah. That thing's horrifying.
It looks like the thing from the main character from the Darkness and Darksiders became an insect monster.
That's Rasputin's final form when you fight him.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah. That's Rasputin's final form.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, all right. So it's just if they ever remake it, dude, you gotta play it. It's just so good. Like I will harass you till you do. Like
it seems to have the cool it seems to have the cool Gothic vibes that I get that I kind of dig from something like Devil May Cry.
Yes. I just know so few people who have played it because, again, it was not super well known. So, anyway, that's mine. What's your next one? We're close. We're close. We're halfway done.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it relatively, time wise consistent. Don't apologize. I was looking at freaking awesome art. I'm just gonna say it. Dark Souls. We talked about Bloodborne on another episode, and I don't think it's cheating for me to say Dark Souls. It's technically a different franchise. Yes, Dark Souls 1.
Yeah. It plays
Dark Souls 2 is a very good game, and I think that a lot of people crap on it because it's not the same as Dark Souls 1. It's not as perfect. Dark Souls 1 is not perfect, but it's not as cohesive, I guess, as Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 is like this incredible experience that is unabashed in the fact that it treats the player. We've said some of these things about Bloodborne, I'm sure. It treats the player like an adult who could figure things out for themselves. Maybe it's too much sometimes. And it has a lesson that it wants to teach you through its theme of gameplay, through its theme of the story, if you could figure it out, through its theme of level design. And if you do not learn its lesson, then you will not proceed. Like it says, you either learn what I'm trying to teach you. It's like a mean but fair coach. If you don't learn the lessons I'm trying to teach you, then I will slap you in the face. And if you forget the lesson that you learned in level 1, and now you're on level 3, you better remember level 1 and level 2, or I will smack you again.
I need to make a meme of a Dark Souls enemy saying that it's Mr. Walker and that the hero is my student's GPA, because it's literally just like that. Where I'm like, you need to know it, and you got to go through me, or your GPA is going to get.
I've never played a game that respected me as much as Dark Souls did, and like it was the scenario where it's so it's both as hard as everyone says it is and not as hard as everyone says it is. You just have to be willing to meet the game on its terms. Whereas most of the times you go into a game, most of the times you go into a game and you have expectations and you want a certain thing out of it, and Dark Souls says, I am this way, and you either learn to play me or you will just not play me. And I remember the thing about Dark Souls is it has become one of my favorite games of all time, not just favorite RPGs of all time, but I also bounced off the game 4 times before I ever played it, because there is a tutorial, and the tutorial is hard. And eventually you beat the tutorial, and then it throws you into an area and says, go explore. And you don't realize it at the beginning of the game, but there are 4 different paths for you to go down. And there's an argument that could be made that Dark Souls is actually an open world game that is it's just connected by smaller corridors than your average open world game, because you can go anywhere in those 4 directions from the opening path, and there's clearly a path that you're supposed to take. And there are clearly paths you're not supposed to take. And I didn't even know there were other paths. So the first 3 times I bounced off this game, I tried going a certain direction, understanding this game is very difficult. And I would get raffle stomped in a nasty way. Just like completely destroyed. I was like, I know this game is supposed to be hard, but I cannot defeat the first enemy outside the tutorial. And what the game was saying is, you shouldn't be here. Like if you can't beat this thing, go look somewhere else. Like it's supposed to say like, hey, if you can't be here, I bet there's another place you can go. And I remember wanting to love this game because I heard so many good things about it. I heard it was hard, and I don't like games telling me I'm not good enough for them.
Super Meat Boy will tell you that.
Well, Super Meat Boy is a game I made myself beat too. So
you beat it?
I did. It took 2 years, I think, but I did beat it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. I had to like stop playing it for like a couple months, but yeah.
How angry
I threw controllers fairly often, and that was one of the reasons I ended up taking breaks, because it was just like this is very difficult. But Dark Souls was like that, where like you kept bashing against the wall, and then I just heard someone mention that there was an alternate path in the beginning. I went the alternate path. My wife happened to be out of town at the time, And I played 60 hours of that game in 1 week and beat it. Because once I was on a roll and once I realized like, oh,
yeah,
this game wants me to approach it as an adult, and like I have to listen to what it's saying to me. I have to do what it's saying. And I've never, because of the great pains of the game, I've also like sort of like World of Warcraft raids. I've never experienced such rewards when you defeat a boss, or when you like just navigating the game. And it sounds obfuscated and it sounds like it's bad game design, but once again, you have to approach it on the game's terms. Finding a shortcut through a level that you have painstakingly fought through 20 times, and then you open up the gate, you finally succeed, and you just open up a gate and say, now I can go straight there instead of having to fight through all these monsters again. It's so rewarding. And then you get to the boss and you get one shot or something. You're like, oh. And then you learn again. You have to relearn every lesson from the beginning. And then you walk into the next room and you get killed by something. You're like, I should have remembered. I should have remembered this thing from level 1.
Yeah.
And as it slowly teaches you, there are elements that I think are out of place and maybe like they go against the theme. But for the most part, the entire game is built around the theme of progressing in spite of the odds, and even in spite of chance of success. Like the theme of the game is incredibly dark and it's incredibly hopeless. It's the grim dark of video games, where there really is no, like, you kind of know going into the thing that you're doing that it really isn't going to fix anything, but you do it anyway. And there's something about that translates into the gameplay. When you walk into a boss, get destroyed, you're like, frick, I'm gonna kill this thing anyway, it doesn't matter. And then that builds into the story. When you look in the story, it's so cohesive, and there's so it's also just it's fantasy and it's metal as crap. So there's some killer monster designs, sweet weapons. There's some heavy, big, massive swords. Like it's so wonderful, and it's this experience that I have a crappy memory. I played this game in 1 week, 60 hours, and the level designs of that game are burned into my brain like things that I played. Like, I can't tell you Luigi's Mansion, which I just played in a month, but I can tell you how to walk through the levels in Dark Souls, because it has become, it meets you on that personal level and it becomes part of you. And
I have the same memory of Bloodborne. Like
Bloodborne is very good. I think there's something to be said for everybody's first Souls game will be the Souls game that they love the most. It's also, I think there's something to be said for once you've learned some of the lessons in the Souls game that they translate. So there's a lot of people that say Dark Souls 2 is way easier than Dark Souls 1. And I think that's because a lot of people have played Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
I think that there are elements of Dark Souls 1 that are, there's a certain boss in Dark Souls 1 that is way harder than anything else I've played in any of the Souls games. But outside of that boss, I think Dark Souls 2, there's a lot of hard things in it, but if you play Dark Souls 1, you're kind of used to it. So I think that the Souls franchise is amazing. I haven't played Sekiro, which somebody commented on your video last week whenever this post this. I haven't played Sekiro. I want to. I also haven't played Dark Souls 3, because why would I finish the series? No
one's surprised about that, Michael.
But Dark Souls 1 and 2 are incredibly amazing games. They're also games that I'll say this real quick. One of the most amazing things about Dark Souls 1 is how, even though the game is oppressive, you see visual marked ways that you improve as a player. Because I remember the first time that once I discovered that alternate path the way you're supposed to go, getting from point A to like the first boss was an 8-hour experience. And then I defeated the game, and then because I was so in love with just like the experience as a whole, I restarted it, and I did it in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just better at the game now. The game has taught me how to play it, and I'm good now. And there's moments where like the first boss that you fight that's kind of tough becomes a regular enemy in one of the later levels, and you just destroy them. It's like, I've become a better player. So many games don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember even in Bloodborne, in the first area, the big guys, like the big executioner guys that have like the capes and like the things, like you have to avoid the path that has the executioner on it until later. And then you know, I fought one and died a bunch, and then, you know, I'm killing them left and right. Like, I love seeing, you know, how much better you get at the game. And like you said, Bloodborne was exactly as hard as I had heard, and at the same time, not as hard as I had heard.
Yeah,
and
it's weird.
I really liked that no matter what wall I was hitting in Bloodborne, I never felt like it was insurmountable. When I was talking about Bloodborne, when my buddy and I we were stuck at the amygdala in the Chalice dungeons, I knew we'd get it. Like, I knew it was a matter of time. I just needed to, you know, play a little better. And that's like right now I'm playing Mass Effect 2 on Insanity, and that game is so hard. Like, and I die. Like I told you on Voxer, I died more in one afternoon than I did the entirety of Bloodborne, just in one area. But I never feel like, I love when games don't feel like they're cheating. It's just, I'm just not doing the right thing. Like, I can get this eventually. When
it's fair, like, sometimes you feel a little cheated. But yeah, when it feels, Super Meat Boy's a fair game, dude. But outside of that disagreement, when you're like, I know I messed up. And I mean, that could be really, I'm not going to say I don't throw a controller still, but I know I messed up. I can get better. And then when you overcome it, dude, those are the lessons that you learn, and then you translate them to real life, and they're valuable.
I haven't decided if I want to play Sekiro or Dark Souls 3 as my second Souls game. I have not.
Either one of them, if you pick them up, I might try to play with you.
Dude.
Because I have Dark Souls 3, and Sekiro's not that expensive anymore.
Dude, we should get Sekiro. We should play Sekiro and play it, because it's Japanese, and I'm a weeb, as we've established.
They're all Japanese, dude.
What
we can play the PlayStation. We can play Demon Souls even then. They made a PlayStation 5 version of it.
Oh, that's right, they did. Did you play Demon Souls when it came out?
I didn't beat it, but I played it. I didn't get a PlayStation 3 until they sort of started shutting off some of the server stuff that's like semi-important in that game. So it wasn't just me being a dummy. It was also like the game wasn't as intended by that point.
When you play Sekiro, because it's samurai and it just sounds so awesome.
It does sound awesome, and it also looks hard as frick.
It does look really hard, but we're
running behind.
We can make content out of it.
We could. We're running behind. Okay. We're running behind. What you got? Wait, is this your last game?
It is my last game, and unfortunately, you're gonna have to deal with a bit of a gush fest, because this is probably my favorite. This is probably my favorite game.
Can you hear that? Is that really loud when I do that?
No, I can hear anything.
This?
Oh, I can hear it now. Yeah. Okay. So my favorite. This is probably my favorite RPG. Like, when all is said and done, and it's Lunar Eternal Blue, which is a game by Working Designs. Working Designs brought it over here. I forget who made it originally.
Sega CD game?
GameSoft. Yes, Sega. It was a Sega CD game. Correct. I think GameSoft. It's called Lunar Eternal Blue. So my brother and I were one of the 4 people that had a Sega CD.
Yeah.
And we we liked RPGs, and we were weebs, and we liked anime. And if you look at the cover, look at how anime that cover is, right? Well, Lunar Eternal Blue is the second game, and we actually played it before we played the first one. The first one's called Lunar Silver Star. And I love these games. Hold on. Ouch. Because of just, it's anime. Like, it's an anime, and it's very feel good. Like, you have a party of a guy. In the first one, he wants to be a dragon master. Like, long ago, there was this dragon master named Dine who united the 4 dragons to defeat this great evil. And your main character in the first one, you're from a little small town, and the music from Berg, that very small first town, is so good. Like, the music in this game is excellent. Some of my favorite video game music ever.
Do you have a track you want me to look up?
What?
Do you have a track you want me to look up?
You can look up Berg. Look up Lunar and then Berg. It's that's from the first game. But in the second one, it's just the first game but bigger. Like, the first game, the party's not quite as interesting and the story isn't as expansive, but the second one, your party is better, the mechanics have been upgraded. Like, I cried at the storyline. I was so attached to these characters. And in the second one, you're a kid you're like a little Indiana Jones kid. Like you scour ruins for like treasure, and you get roped in, and the dragons have been corrupted essentially in this one. There's there's the red, the blue, the black, and the white, and they've kind of been corrupted by the four knights. There's a black wizard, a blue martial artist, the white knight, and then red something. Who's the red one? The red, I don't know. There's a red one too. And it's just, there's this huge world-ending threat, and it's the characters and the music that make this game. It's just so good. And the villain in the first game is this guy named Galleon. You go to this floating city called Vane, which is like it's the wizard town. The wizards have figured out how to like raise their city above the ground, and he turns out, to be the evil one. And his voice actor, John Truitt, was the very first video game voice actor that I knew his name, because I loved his name so much. Do a Google search on YouTube for Galleon Lunar Eternal Blue. Because when I played the second game, I played the second game first. So when I played the first one, I'm like, oh, well, Galleon's the bad guy, because he comes back in the second game. And for the entirety of the second game, you think Galleon is the bad guy, but it turns out that he's actually just pretending to be in the first one, he's pretending to be a good guy and becomes the bad guy. In the second one, he's pretending to be the villain, but is actually helping you. And I love his voice actor. Like when so I've played D&D for forever, but when all my friends went off to college, I couldn't run a game. So I ran an online D&D game on what's called McCrae's Keep, which is you run it, but not like you could run it now with like Zoom and stuff, because this was like early 2000s. You played it by text. Yeah. And there was like a little dice roller program, but otherwise you just played it by text. The main villain in that game was just reskinned Galleon. Like it was literally reskinned Galleon, because I loved that character so much. And so it was Sega CD game. And then PlayStation, on the original PlayStation, they remastered both games and released them again as like a kind of a complete edition. The first game, Lunar Silver Star Story, which is the PlayStation version, they changed the plot. Like, what? Yes, I do not like the PlayStation version of the first one. So your main love interest, Luna, she's a girl from your hometown village, and she eventually gets possessed by the evil goddess that Galleon's resurrecting. In the first game, when you leave to go try to free the dragons, she stays behind. In the PlayStation game, they send her with you as like a party member. Luna was never a party member in the first game. Like she's just not. She's an NPC. She's important to the story, and it completely changed the dynamics of like the stuff that happened later. It's like Luna, the whole point is that you're not supposed to be there. Like he doesn't realize you get kidnapped. But the second game on PlayStation is just as good. It is easier than the Sega CD, because on the Sega CD, you know how when you level up, obviously you get experience and gold. In the Sega CD version, you also got, first of all, it was random battles in Sega CD. In the PlayStation 1, it was enemies on the field. You run into them, have a fight. But you also earned, when fighting battles, these what's called like magic experience. So the battles take place on it's like a 2D plane. Like you'll go into this battle thing in this 2D plane, and you can move your guy along the plane. Like you have to be close enough to use an ability. So you would move them as part of your move, and then you would like cast a spell or attack. Or
is that true on both versions?
Yeah, in both versions. Okay. But in the PlayStation version, you level up your abilities by just leveling up. In the Sega CD game, you chose what abilities to level up by spending magic experience. And magic experience was a shared resource through your entire party. So
screw that, dude.
If you what?
Screw that.
What do you mean screw that? So it was hard, dude. Because if you level up heal, like you've got to level up heal on your caster.
You don't get your magic for other people's.
Exactly. By leveling up heal, you're not leveling up another ability on someone else. And so it was pretty grindy, the Sega CD version, because you had to. I remember my brother and I were stuck on the Blue Martial Artist and the Black Wizard as bosses. Mm-hmm. They were so hard when we were children. Like, we were stuck there for days, like just trying we'd grind some more, trying to find them again. It was hard. And the last boss was really tough as well. And then Eternal, the PlayStation 1 had an epilogue that the Sega CD didn't have that was actually really good also. But they're just so good, so heartwarming. The music is excellent. The gameplay was really fun. The characters, and because it's from the Sega CD and PlayStation version, it had Working Designs had some of the best localization at the time. Like, back on the PlayStation 1 era, first of all, JRPGs were imported much less often, but localization was also really bad a lot of times. Working Designs, and this is one of the reasons they went out of business, is their games were too costly to produce, just because of when you got the games, you would get all sorts of extra stuff. Literally, when I bought Lunar for the PlayStation, I got the freaking pendant, an actual gold-plated metal pendant that Lucia wears in the game. It just came standard with the game, but the localization was great. So it was just so different than most other JRPGs at the time, because most of them just sounded like the dialogue was just awful. But these were really localized with actual American pop culture references and stuff.
Weird. I'm watching some of the gameplay here, and it looks both extremely stereotypical anime, but also seems like it has its own little flair. It's kind of cool.
There was depth to it. It looks really simple, but there was depth to the thing, and it was hard. It was tough. Even the PlayStation version can be tough at times, but it's an exceptional game. Another game I'm waiting to be remastered. They keep remastering all this crap and not these good ones. So I am desperately hoping that they will re-release Lunar. There have been, I think there were attempts at a third Lunar for the Saturn or something, and there have been Game Boy Advance. I'm surprised you didn't play the Game Boy Advance version of the first one. But they are excellent, and I really enjoy them. And I still think about Lunar pretty regularly, and kind of the songs that are in them before songs were standard in JRPGs.
How do you feel in general, as our local JRPG expert, about random battles versus map-placed battles?
I like random battles because I like world maps. I mourn the loss of world maps, where you would just run around a world map discovering things, as opposed to travel to destination maps, which is what we have now, fast travels.
Yeah.
I miss that, from the old Final Fantasies and Lunar. I never hated random battles. I actually, when they first started making the transition into on-screen enemies touching and then creating a battle space, I didn't like it. I much preferred random battles. Now I think, as a 39-year-old with less time, I think that I probably like on-screen battles less, because if I'm in a hurry, I can just skip them.
Yeah,
which you could not do. I remember trying to get to a save point on a random battle RPG, where it's just oh my god, come on. My mom's or my dad's yelling at me you gotta go to bed, and I'm just I can't. I have to save it. Hold on. In Final Fantasy VI, I remember distinctly trying to get to a freaking save point, but random battle.
Things like that have always made random battles really difficult for me.
Yeah, I can't believe you don't like the idea of powering up individual abilities.
Well, okay, I was going to ask, what do you think about remakes making things about old games easier when they realized they were bad decisions, or when they realized that they were just overcomable by infinite grinding? How do you feel about that? Because it happens a lot with remakes.
It does, and I am someone who simultaneously hates being a hipster and is a hipster. So I hate it when people are like, "Oh my gosh, just get over it." It doesn't matter that happened, or that hates when people are like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they changed all this and just made it. It's for the plebs now." And at the same time, I'm I can't believe they changed all this. It's easy now.
It's for babies though.
Yeah, exactly. It's for little kids now. So, I mean, I'm both. I am Schrodinger's hipster. I am simultaneously hipster and not hipster.
You could say that it depends on the game. Like some games are just better than others.
That's true. I don't like when remakes change the plot.
That just seems ill-advised. Like I feel like if you're going to change something, it's best to try to change something that either fixes something that people hated originally, or if you make a change that makes it feel like you thought it felt, but it actually felt bad back in the day.
Yeah.
Like if you do a remake of like an old 3D game and you fix the camera,
yeah,
you probably should fix the camera because old cameras suck.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But so also,
that's my stand.
Yeah, I've had weird elements as well. I remember when I played the Kingdom Hearts, whatever the frick they called the remake of the first game on the PlayStation 3. They added 2 different moves to Sora's like standard move set by default. Oh, they may not have been standard, but you unlock them fairly early on that make the game way easier. Like there is a dash move that you unlock in your regular combo.
Yeah.
Because he normally does like the regular 3-hit combo, you can add stuff to it. There's a dash move that you add to it that will, if you hit another person's oncoming hit with that dash, it will count as if you had like parried it. And so there are so many bosses that are way easier.
Wow.
And when I hit it, I was like, something about this, like this boss is way easier than I remember it being. And then I realized that was the thing. I was like, I'm not turning that off. I don't have time to do it the old way. This is way too freaking hard.
No, I get that. So I probably appreciate the design decisions now more than when I was young and like, All right. So we're a little over time, but that's okay. What's your last one, Michael? We're almost done.
The last one, I think I have more than one answer, but I'm just gonna give my troll answer because it's gonna fit best for the amount of time we have left. Your eyes look like maybe. Are you anticipating something weird?
I'm suspicious. You're being a sussy baka right now.
What the frick? In lieu of naming a specific 10th game, and I almost named a troll 10th game. I love that I was looking through my list of all of the games that I've ever beaten because I have that in a spreadsheet. And
just have that on a Post-it.
A Post-it?
Yes, of all the games you've ever beaten.
Oh, if I was series I've ever beaten, I could count on one hand.
Oh.
It was games I've ever beaten. I've beat a lot.
Oh, okay.
So I was looking at the list of games that I've beaten and realizing that so many of my favorite games contain massive RPG elements that are not RPGs. Like some of my favorite shooters have like story choices and leveling up and tech trees, and my favorite, all of like one of my favorite, I guess I would probably classify it as an adventure game, is a game called To the Moon, which I don't know if you've heard of that one or not.
I've never actually even heard of that one.
Someday I will talk about that one. But To the Moon is it's really an adventure game because you mostly just walk around and talk to people. But it was just like a love letter to the visual style of the SNES RPGs. So it's a pixel art SNES RPG looking thing where it's really like all of these other favorite games that I was looking at don't qualify as RPGs. They probably would under the relatively open rules that we gave at the beginning of the game. Yeah, but I was looking at these going, these are not RPGs, but these have been heavily influenced by RPGs. So as my 10th thing, I will probably just say I love the fact that RPGs became so synonymous with gameplay design in general that most of the time game genres, I was explaining this to someone the other day, game genres are defined as genres not really by just elements they contain, but by the primary actions you play. Like we don't define genre by...
We talked about this.
Did we talk about it?
Not in the video, but we talked about it but like on one of the while we were hanging out before we started the video.
Yeah. So like, yeah. And so when we think RPGs, because we've been gaming a very long time, we think of a certain type of game that we call an RPG because it plays like RPGs have always played. But in reality, the things that made those RPGs, other than just that gameplay, has spread to every other video game in the world now. Where we talked about people saying that Horizon belonged on the list because Horizon has all of those elements that we mentioned, or Spider-Man, or freaking Crysis has every element that we mentioned. There was a bunch of other games I was thinking of, but all of them. I if we had more time and I was just going to be a troll, I was going to say that one of my favorite RPGs is Metal Gear Solid 5 because it has every single element we define as an RPG, and it's also a killer game. Metal Gear Solid 5 is I've never beaten the other ones, but I've played them. Metal Gear Solid 5 plays like a real video game though, not like a insane Kojima whatever. It plays like a video game.
3 is amazing.
3 is insane. It's insane. But 5 plays like this incredible third-person shooter that also has like kind of story choices and characters and NPCs and leveling up and all of these other elements in this world system. It's kind of an open world game, but not really. But it also is largely an RPG in a lot of systems mechanics ways. And I was like, I could talk a long time about it because there's so many amazing things about it, and also it's not finished. He just released a game that didn't have it.
I love Kojima.
Yeah, dude. Well, he got kicked out, so I mean, it's what it is. He was also probably trying to spend all their money.
Konami hates things that people like.
Well, and they're also vindictive as frick, which is why we never got to see Silent Hills. So
I hate Konami.
Yeah,
and EA and Activision.
And Capcom. Like, Capcom hasn't made good games in a long time either.
No, Capcom can stay. I like Capcom.
They've made good games in the past, but they don't do it anymore.
Resident Evil 8 just came out.
I don't play Resident Evils. They make me pee my pants. I actually do want... The game does look rad, actually.
Michael, at the same time, I agree with you. And at the same time, again, I am mad that everything has RPGs because I remember, like, here's the thing. It's not fair, Michael, because when I was in school, when I was growing up, Dungeons and Dragons and JRPGs were not mainstream. They were not popular. I was made fun of.
But you wanted, you wish they were. You suffered.
But now everyone must suffer the way I suffered.
You suffered so that everyone can fly, dude.
I am a JRPG villain. Because I suffered, everyone must suffer. It is not fair that this crap's mainstream now. No. Only true fans can suffer the humiliation of playing D&D in a public park.
I know some of the pain that you experienced.
You're right on the edge of that.
When I was 21 years old, I was a little bit of a jerky gatekeeper when it came to a lot of things like this. But then I realized that if I actually wanted people to play video games, I should probably not be a jerk. And so I was like, oh, if I can probably get more people to play this if I just, wasn't a jerk. And so
that's probably true.
So it's like I love the evolution that we've seen. And also I was gonna say if people said that I was copying out by not actually naming a 10th game, I thought about naming Fire Emblem Awakening because it's actually a rad game and I do like Fire Emblem, even though I did kind of crap on it in the first episode.
Yeah, Awakening's good. That's the I thought which one's the GameCube one?
I didn't play that one. I don't know.
Path of Radiance? I think it's Path of Radiance.
That sounds right. 3DS. The first 3DS one was, I think, Awakening. No, but I think it was the first one that allowed you to have children, and your children would become party members. So you could have different characters have romances, and they would have kids, and those kids could be really powerful and strong. And the side characters had little side stories, and of course, it still had permadeath, so it would suck so bad when you got to the end of the game and either you have to reload or redo a whole battle because when your main characters died. So I love Fire Emblem Awakening, and I was going to say that, but also I wanted to do the whole like heartwarming of like, Frank, everything's an RPG now, dude. Call of Duty is kind of like an RPG, which it does hurt a little bit to say that because I don't love Call of Duty, but
I don't. Oh my gosh, I don't either. My students are always like, Miss Rucker, you play COD? I'm like, I don't. They're like, come on, you should play Black Ops with us.
Are you a Fortnite hater?
I mean, yes. Yes, because last year, not this year so much, but last year I would, finish teaching and be like, okay, guys, here's your assignment. And they would just bust out their laptops and play Fortnite. And I'm like, guys, I'll kill you. Put it away. And also, The fact that freaking they just put Kelsier in Fortnite. Like, really, Brandon? This is what you want to be. You want this to be your legacy? Like,
it's a good move, dude.
What?
It's a good move, dude.
It's a terrible move. It's a
how do you get people interested in a better adaptation? Why do I have to be the guy? Why do I have to be the person who makes a video hating on adaptations? I somehow am the only guy that comes in here and says, this makes sense if he wants the Mistborn movie he wants to make. He has to somehow get people to care about Mistborn. And this is
not true because freaking Shadow and Bone and now every bloody YA show on the face of the planet has an adaptation coming out. Now is the time to strike while the iron's hot. Brandon Sanderson is the most popular fantasy author working today.
Mistborn doesn't have the love triangle stuff that YA people tend to like. Like, it doesn't have. I'll say this in the nicest way I can. Mistborn doesn't have the same tropes that would make a CW show, which is what kind of makes those things popular.
Okay, but Kelsier in Fortnite is like, it's the bastardization of intellectual property. Like it's just oh my, I hate it. Like it's as if you saw like Soul Calibur 7 came out and the bonus fighter for the PlayStation version is freaking Kelsier, like it was Yoda in 1 and then Link for the GameCube with like Soul Calibur.
Hold on. Did you not want to play Spider-Man and Tony Hawk?
Okay, Michael, the fact that you think I ever wanted to play a skateboard game of any kind.
What the frick? Why can't we be friends?
Michael,
dude,
Michael, skateboarding is the worst mode of transportation. If I could ban skateboarding, I would. That's right.
It has nothing to do with transportation. It has to do with being the coolest son of a gun on earth, dude.
So all those thumbs downs for me talking about skateboarding is going on your channel.
Dude, I was a freaking teenager in the early 2000s. There's nothing cooler than skateboarding.
I was a teenager in the 90s, and skateboarding is still lame. I never played one Tony Hawk. I've never played 1 minute of a skateboarding game. It's all true.
You never?
No. And whenever I worked at GameStop when the new Tony Hawks were coming out like yearly, and I was just like, I don't care. Like Informer would.
I already know based on previous conversations, you're not going to know any of the songs from the soundtrack or anything.
Definitely not.
Oh my word! I can't.
So the answer is no. I didn't want to play Spider-Man in your skateboard game. I want to play Spider-Man in a Spider-Man game.
Did you play like? Did you play like the snowboarding game? Did you play SSX at all?
No, I hate SSX.
What the frick is wrong with you?
I don't like snowboarding games either.
Did you play a single EA big game?
What?
Did you play a single EA big game?
I don't even know what that is. You mean Madden? I know about the Madden games that came out every year. What is EA Big? What is that? Michael, what are these things? What are these?
What?
What is EA Big?
EA Big, when everything was extreme and extreme sports were big and everything was over the top because it was the early 2000s.
I don't like extreme sports. I'm trying to figure out why I strike you as someone who BMXs or SSXs or half pipes.
Because I thought you were cool, but you were just a weeb. I would probably have beat you up in high school, even though I like the same stuff you do also.
Once you have actually engaged in the culture and you don't just learn Japanese so you can try to listen to anime, you're no longer a weeb. Like, I actually have a decent facility with the language.
I have another question.
What? I've transcended weebdom.
What is your take on The World Ends With You by Square Enix?
I don't like it.
Of course you don't, because it's so freaking cool.
Listen, it came out for the DS. I did not really have a DS. I had a DS intermittently. The girl I was dating at the time really liked that game, but I do not like the characters. Look like punks, so I don't like them.
That's why they're so flippin' cool, dude.
I don't like you know how the 90s was that horrible era where they tried to make everything like cool and like, edgy. How like Sonic had, like, he's got an attitude. Like I didn't like that. I didn't like the attitude 90s, the attitude era. Not a big fan. So no, I don't like people that spray paint things on other things, like in World Ends With You. I was more of a Rabbit than a Tigger fan. What?
I can't even, dude.
What? What's your problem? Tigger shows up and destroys Rabbit's gardens. That's irresponsible.
Everything that's cool in the world you just pooped on.
Not true. There are many things that we both like. Just in the Venn diagram, skateboarding and extreme sports does not occupy that middle space between our interests. I'm happy to debate this.
Okay. Okay, thank you for watching our top 10 RPG series, where you watched a friendship completely fall apart by the end. It was I tried to end it on such a heartfelt moment where I was talking about how RPGs are so cool, and then you were like, frick, screw those people. And then I tried to make a cool thing about extreme sports and how everything was cool in the early 2000s. And then you said blasphemous, heretical things on this channel, and now we can no longer talk.
Kelsier in Fortnite is a good idea.
Just because someone says something slightly mean to you doesn't mean you have to come back and stab them in the throat, Alan.
I believe in vengeance.
I want to use this opportunity to say that this has been extremely fun. Talking to you about video games has been extremely fun. And we have been talking behind the scenes about ways to do this more.
Yeah.
And so there might be something fun to look forward to in the future. I'm not going to give any specifics because I don't know any for sure. But that's something that we're working on, and I'm looking forward to doing it in spite of what just happened. I cannot freaking get over what just happened.
I hate skateboarding and snowboarding games. I hate them. I hate them. Every now and then you'll play like an action game and it'll have
I mentioned EA Big. I mentioned EA Big in passing in one of these previous episodes, and you just didn't react. Like I didn't know if you didn't hear me. You didn't know what it was because you were not a fan of NBA Street or something. Like
NBA Street. No, I didn't like NBA Street. I don't like NBA Street.
Thank you for anyone that stuck around. Stay tuned for more news. I would have told you to go subscribe to Alan's channel, but now I'm not so sure. Mistakes have been made.
Good luck, guys. If you want honesty from someone who has good opinions, subscribe to my channel. If you want hot takes, subscribe to Christy Lewis's channel.
Anyway, thanks for doing this, man. This has been super fun.
Thank you for having me, Michael. This has been awesome. Hopefully we'll do some more of it.
See you guys later.